New course, new venue, and a very warm welcome to Telford from the 2022 PGA EuroPro Tour. It is event 2, the Ignis Management Championship. 156 players will be looking to make their mark on that order of merit. It was James Allen who made his on the opening event of the season at Harleyford, but who will be making their mark next? Here's what's coming up. John Morgan takes a closer look at the key challenges of this course.
That'll make it difficult because this is a shot shaper's paradise.
We catch up with last week's winner, James Allen.
I had a great week. I played really well.
We speak with the staff here at Telford as they prepare for the final round.
This is what the business wants to do. This is what I wanted to do personally, is deliver tournaments.
We'll also chat to the nearly men of the 2021 season, those that just missed out of getting their tour cards but are back to try again.
Very hard to say because I thought I did enough last year to get it done.
And of course, we have the very best of the action from the final round of the Ignis Management Championship. But let's start with this magnificent course, and who better to cast their expert eye over than 6-time European Tour winner Simon Dyson. Simon, thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
A lot of good players in the mix here, but which ones stand out to you?
Yeah, a lot of good players. The ones that stand out for me, James Allen won last week, really a talent for the EuroPro. Joe Dean, someone else, I like his game. And then Australian lad, George Worrell's just come over from Australia, is going to pit his wits against the EuroPro boys. So they're the three that stand out for me.
OK, you've been around this course, but what type of player suits this course?
Good iron players, hitting into the greens. The greens are quite slopey, so you've got to position the ball really well on the greens. It's not the longest course, there's a lot of chances, but there's a lot of really tough holes as well, like 9 on the front 9. 15, is a bit of a challenge, even though it's drivable. 17's tough. So you just got to be in control of your ball flight, and your emotions as well.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned a few tough holes there. Tell me about a few challenges that the players will face in the front 9.
Yeah, front 9, early doors. The second is normally a par 5. Blind tee shot, big dog leg right to left. Tough second hole, it's a long one. So to get off to a good start, par the first 2, then there's a few chances after that. Like I said, 9's pretty tough challenge as well. So there's some chances, but there's a couple of dangerous holes as well.
Time now to join our commentary team, Kit Alexander, Ash Weller and Phil Yates.
Thanks, Gabby. This is how it stands with the key 18 to play. Thomas Thurloway, Q School medalist late last year, shares 4th, together with Piers Berrington, Will Enifer and James Allen, winner of the season opener at Harleyford. Josh Hilliard and Stuart McLaren, who tied the course record with a 63 in the second round, have played their way into the final group. But the 36-hole leader is Yorkshireman Nick Marsh, 8 under par. So what's been happening in the early stages here in spectacular Shropshire? Well, making his move is regular EuroPro Tour threat Joe Dean, who after notching up a birdie on the first, improved to 6 under with another gain here at the short third. Now on the same hole, take a look at this from Adam Chapman, winner of the 2017 EuroPro Tour Championship in Portugal. After a bogey on the second, Chapman's kick-in birdie returns him to 4 under, where he started the day. This is very much a local fixture for Will Enifer, and a splash of local knowledge helped last year's winner at Montrose get off to the ideal start with a birdie at the first. Pars at the second and third followed. As for the final group, they all safely parred the first. 5 players now share third, including Enifer and Dean. McLaren remains solo second, just behind Marsh, who's about to tackle the tough par 4 second hole. Telling us about this stern early test is John Morgan.
Second hole, par 5 for the members. Now I think for the pros it's going to be a par 4. It's a sharp dog leg from right to left, but what makes this hard, from the tee you can't see any of the left side of this fairway. All you can see is pretty much where I'm stood. So the boys will be aiming here, slightly leak it a bit too much to the right hand side. You're going to run out of room into trees. Anything too far left, you're going to be blocked out on the left hand side, get into the green. You're not have good access to that big tall tree, so you're going to have to shape one or hit one extremely high and be very, very fortunate. Now what makes this even more difficult for the tee shot, and this is where it's all based on, is that being a dog leg right to left, with the camber of the fairway from left to right, you're going to have to shape it hard from right to left and hug it a little bit, and you're always going to get that little bit of a bounce over to the right hand side, which is going to be nice, and that'll give you the clear angle to the green, but it is tricky.
Kit, not a hole to be trifled with.
It's a difficult start, and coming early in the round as well, you just hope you've had a good warm-up on the range and you're in control. As John said, you need to know how to shape the ball around here. As Nick Marsh looks to find the fairway, well, he's done exactly what John said, and you want to feel like you've got control of your ball flight early on in the round.
Ash, it's amazing, isn't it, to how Joe Dean turns up on leaderboards time and time again.
He's a quality ball striker, is Joe Dean. He's very hard on himself on the golf course, but he's an unbelievable talent.
Now here's Simon down on the second.
So Stuart McLaren pulled his tee shot here on the second, just down the left, blocked out by these trees. He's got two options. He can either turn the face in and really hook one round, or just chip it out. The lie really doesn't allow the first option. He's not going to be able to get the side spin. So I think he'll just have to basically take his medicine, knock it back out in play, and then try and get up and down for his par.
No such issues, though, for the back-to-form Nick Marsh.
Yeah, got a great angle in here. And he'll know what to do in this position as a front runner. He did get promoted from the EuroPro Tour up to the Challenge Tour back in 2017, but that is an errant one, Ash.
Yeah, unlike Nick, I think if there's a course that would be designed for a player like Nick Marsh, it's this one. He's got to control his shots. He's a very controlled golfer, this guy.
Well, let's see. Does he play it safe like Simon Dyson said he should? Well, that looks pretty ambitious. It sent an animal scampering across the fairway up ahead anyway. Piers Barrington, 170 yards this one on the card. Playing a bit shorter today though, Ash?
Yeah, just 158 yards today. Piers is a product of the Monday qualifiers that started last year, and he's really made the most of that. And what a shot he's hit in there.
Great chance for birdie for Barrington. And this is McLaren. It's where it ended up, so doesn't look like he's in the fairway. Might cost him a little bit of control and spin. Actually grabbed a bit more than he was perhaps expecting.
Now James Allen, he was superb at Harleford. What a story it would be if he could begin the year with back-to-back victories.
He's been knocking on the door. I remember Tour Champs a couple of years ago when Michael Lundberg won it. He held a big putt on 18 for a birdie to force the playoff, and you can see the confidence is just flowing out of him at the moment.
Can Marsh get it up and down to keep the scorecard ticking over early doors? Important one, this.
Well, he'll want to keep an eye on that as it releases ever closer to the apron. Just a little bit bold.
Now we saw the quality of the pitch from Joe Dean, who was 8th in the order of merit last year, so really disappointed up at Slowly Hall in the end to miss out on the Challenge Tour place. But who's to say he will have better fortunes at the conclusion of 2022.
First look at James Walker, his approach into the fourth. He's been quietly effective on the EuroPro Tour the last couple of years without really getting himself into contention too often. But he's left himself below the hole there.
Can McLaren save his 4 on the second? Be a scramble. But they all count. What a great save that is.
And that's huge, getting that in before Nick Marsh faces his par putt as well.
Can he react? Can he punch back? Oh, so close.
Yeah, that looked very good for a very long time for the Huddersfield golfer. So a dropped shot early for the overnight leader, Nick Marsh.
That means there's a tie at the top, and this silky putter, James Allen, has got this to be just one behind.
As he said at Harleford, he's changed his routine over the winter. And he said himself that he starts a little bit slow in the season, but very much the opposite now.
And to another left-hander, Josh Hilliard, a couple of runners-up finishes last season. Knocks that one in with no bother there. Jennifer at 6 under is a man that we'll want to keep an eye out for today. 6th on the order of merit last season.
And he's not afraid to go low either, Jennifer. When he gets going, he really does turn it on.
So that eventful passage of play means only one shot covers everyone on the leaderboard, and there's a quartet at the top. McLaren, Walker, Red Hot Joe Dean, and the overnight pace setter Nick Marsh, who's got previous when it comes to winning on the EuroPro Tour.
Nick, great play yesterday. How's your golf feeling out there?
Yeah, really good. I've been playing some consistent stuff recently, so it's nice to see some results kicking in.
Okay, we're tied 15th in Harleyford, opening event of the season. Strong finish there as well.
Yeah.
What do you put your good start down to?
Just consistency, really. Been hitting loads of fairways and loads of greens, which is nice. Been nice to get the putter a little bit warmer, but we're in a good spot, and hopefully today's going to be a good day.
It's looking pretty competitive this season,
Yeah,
the field.
definitely, yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, good. I don't think people realise how good the golfers are on this tour. I don't think we get enough credit. Week in, week out, guys are shooting, mega scores under par, and we're playing around decent golf courses. So hopefully today's going to be a good day, and a lot of golf to be played. 18 holes out there, anything can happen. So just going to try and control what I can control. Take one shot at a time. You
got promoted to the Challenge Tour, didn't you? You were still fairly quite young at that time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've learnt a lot in the time from then to now?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm certainly a much better player than I am sort of back then. Learned a lot about myself and my game, and done quite a few, done a lot of work, a lot of swing changes. Hopefully they'll pay dividends today.
Can Marsh nick another EuroPro Tour title? Find out after the break. Welcome back to the Telford Hotel Spa and Golf Resort, hosting the Ignis Management Championship. Here in the West Midlands, a McLaren is in top gear. Stuart McLaren from north of the border.
How do you kind of prepare on the off-season and reset and go into a new one?
So last year was my first year as a professional, kind of made a switch from working full-time, and I kind of really didn't know what to expect, and I started really slowly. So last winter, I sat down with coach, family, and had a little chat just about how we prepare better for the year ahead, because and you don't know how long your career is going to be. So we went out to Dubai, went out to Portugal, did as much as we possibly could to get ourselves ready. And although the injury came at the bad time a few weeks ago, it's been fine. The ankle's holding up, and we're looking forward to it.
You mentioned you were working full-time beforehand.
Yeah.
I had a little snoop and I saw you were working in insurance. What made the switch into full-time golf, really? What pushed you?
COVID, to be honest with you. 2019, I had a kind of good year in the amateur circuit, and then COVID hit and there wasn't anything to play. So I just kind of took the chance. I'll go to Q school, I'll see what happens. Not really, again, expecting much. And then I walk away with full cards. So I was working with Royal London. They've been absolutely fantastic from the day I managed to secure playing rights all the way through to the support they're giving me just now. So really fortunate and really lucky to have them aboard.
You tied the course record here in Telford. How pleased are you with that?
Yeah, it was nice. It was. I got off to a really poor start on Wednesday through 7 holes, and kind of had a little chat with myself to keep myself going, because you don't know what's around the corner. And I finished really hot on Wednesday afternoon and managed to keep the momentum going yesterday. I just made it was kind of stress-free, which is always a nice way to go. And yeah, it's fantastic to kind of tie the course record, which has been standing for so long here. Last season I missed the first 6 cuts in a row, and I didn't actually know if I'd be playing just now. I had an injury a few weeks ago which kind of set me back a few weeks. So for me just to come, play the game and just trying to get it round was my approach, to be honest with you. And the fact that I made the cut last week and I've got myself in this position this week, it's fantastic. The season's, it comes round really fast each event, and it's not the longest season and going. So yeah, if you get off to a fast start, it sets you up great for the rest of the year. Second year on tour, what's your approach and your goals for this season? Obviously, if you ask anyone on the EuroPro, you're definitely aiming for top 5. It has to be said. But of course, if I can get the win today, then it really sets you up well for the rest of the season. And I'm seeing what happens. Q School's back as well, so it gives you another avenue to go down if you aren't successful in the top on EuroPro. So yeah, just take each week as it comes, each shot as it comes, and just enjoy it, I suppose.
Around this clever Brian Griffiths and John Harris design, there's no insurance against bogeys, but right now McLaren is looking good, sharing the lead with 3 others as the final group tackle the shortest hole on the course. Ash, it's a beauty.
It is. Short little par 3, playing 158 yards today. Bunkers on the front right and round the side on the left shouldn't really come into play for these guys. The challenge is the green. It's very slopey. Today's pin will be cut on the front left, just over a little slope. Tricky one.
We've seen a few players stick it in tight to this front left pin position already today. Josh Hilliard, of course, for him being a left-hander, possibly a little fade to work it in there, Ash.
Let's see what he does. Well called kit. Uphill putt left. Perfect.
The one thing Stuart McLaren wants to do is avoid a repeat of his final round at Harleford last week. Plummeted all the way down the field to tied 48th with a 78.
It's a great story, though. Someone who went into the working world, but he's been able to pursue his dream of being a professional golfer. Just a touch right there. I think he'll be able to get the putter to that one, though.
Marsh wanting to put the pressure back on after his drop shot on the second. See what he can do.
Well, we often hear about bounce-back ability in the professional game of golf, and it looks like Nick Marsh has given himself a great opportunity to get that shot back.
Now Walker has made a par and a birdie on this hole already this week. Friendly par 4. Nothing complex about it. And from that range, I don't think he'll be that enthused.
Oh, the flag was very still. Green's just receptive enough as well. This should be a prime opportunity for someone like Will Enifer to knock it in tight.
You can see there he wasn't particularly impressed with himself with that one. Holes 4 and 5. If you can get it on the fairway, they're very straightforward, but if you miss, the trees are tall. There's no getting out.
Early test for the touch of Stuart McLaren with that flat stick. Well, it was a pretty good effort, but it has just crept a little bit further away than you might have thought. Just shows these greens have got a little bit of life in them.
Yeah, absolutely. The greens of this golf course's defence, if you just get slightly the wrong side, they're very slopey. Can cause you all kinds of problems.
Well, he stood up on that pretty quickly. I think he knew he'd not quite given it enough. Hilliard for his birdie here on the 3rd to move to 7 under par.
Beautiful putt. You can see he's left it on the right side of the hole there, so it's a pretty straight uphill putt. He can be aggressive. Get the same distance the other side, then you're really treating it with kid gloves.
Now Enifer, he's from the Wrekin Golf Club, one of the closest to this venue. And clearly home cooking is sweet.
It's always nice to be able to stay in your own bed, isn't it, Ash?
I wouldn't know.
Someone's got to be out there doing the hard yards, setting up all these courses. Well, that was a bit tentative from McLaren. Bogey 4.
Yeah, be very frustrated with that on a 158-yard par 3. Not what you want to be doing.
Nick Marsh, can he get immediately back to 8 under par? Yes, he can.
Despite the cries of 4, he got away with that one. I think that was from the 6th tee. Smile from Marsh there.
The logjam at the top is broken as Marsh regains sole possession of the lead in the inaugural Ignis Management Championship. Here's Peter Jones, founder and CEO of the tournament sponsors.
The EuroPro Tour for me is the starting point for these young golfers. It's a major part for them. It's a major part of their life for them to get onto the main European Tour. So there are a couple of steps down, so it's the fledgling professional golfers, and it's really important for them that they understand what it's like to have cameras on them and what it's like to have a bit of pressure and the quality of golf on this tour is amazing. There's been some phenomenal scores this week, so they're playing against true professionals that are starting out in their career, and some old school as well. There's some people that have been on the European tour playing on the EuroPro as well, so there's a lot of talent out there.
Okay, you must be incredibly proud as well, being able to give these players almost a platform to perform and to the best of their abilities.
That's my role. That's my role, is to give them a platform, help them out in every way I can do to get them to the next level and beyond as well. So it's really important that they've got some support in the early part of their career, both financial and moral support as well, and to have a close-knit team around them, which I feel is really, really important to do that, to give them the springboard for future success.
Okay, I can tell you're very passionate about obviously the game and your players as well. So for you, it goes a lot deeper than just sponsoring an event, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Of course it does. Yeah, the excitement. You know, going back a few years when James Newton won the Irish Amateur Championship, was walking up the 18th fairway, he was already 4 shots ahead. The excitement of that was absolutely superb. So to repeat that on a EuroPro Tour event will be fantastic.
Now, thanks to Peter for making such a terrific event possible. It really is a thrilling day with moves aplenty on the front nine, including from James Allen, whose hopes of replicating his triumph at Harleford last week were boosted by a birdie at the 5th. He's 7 under. Meanwhile, on the dogleg par 5 6th, a hole that's produced more birdies than any other, Piers Berrington gave himself an eagle chance. It wasn't to be, but he taps in to join the throng at 7 under. Back at the 5th now, Josh Hilliard repeats his birdie there on day 1. And Simon has caught up with him at the 6th.
Josh, 67-67. You've come into this tournament with an obvious game plan. Does it change much on the last day, or do you try and keep it pretty similar to the first 2 days?
I'm going to keep it as similar as I can. It's obviously, like you say, it's worked for the last 2 days, so another one of those and we shouldn't be too far away.
It certainly has. So, leaderboard watcher, or do you just kind of let each hole come as it comes, and you know?
We'll see. Ask me a bit later on and we'll see. I mean, we've got a little lad behind us. He's doing a great job, his little Ben back there, so we're looking at that one, but I haven't seen a big one yet.
Well, you've got off to a great start, 2 under through 5. Good luck for the rest of the day.
Cheers, Simon. Thank you.
Josh Hilliard and Nick Marsh are tied at the top, 8 under par. Then Slater, Enifer, Berrington and James Allen are well within striking distance. And there's Matthew Nixon, who used to play on the DP World Tour, who's got a lot of quality. Now, Kit, on the 6th, it's a hole you want a birdie, but it's no pushover.
Absolutely, only 2 par 5s on this layout, so you feel you've got to take advantage of them when they come your way. Both reachable if you get your tee shot in position. But Nick Marsh has just run it into that front bunker there.
Hilliard from the left side of the fairway, long iron. Doesn't look way right by the look of that. Clatters the timber. Here's the challenger Telford.
Well, he's in the lap of the gods there, isn't he? We heard a loud bang. That could be in the depths, or he might have got it back out into some play.
8th hole, Enifer. Great little par 4, this one. I did see Billy Spooner drive this green, which is an incredible hit, but the sensible play is iron out to the left-hand side, wedge in. Where did that one go?
Well, that rough looks very juicy around there. If he's found it, it's going to take a lot of work to get it up and down. A first look at David Langley now. His 2nd year on the EuroPro Tour.
Strong as an ox is Langley, but really good putting skills as well. Very accomplished player.
Now this gives you a really good look at the most picturesque hole on the golf course, in my opinion, the 8th.
Oh, I love the sawn-off follow-through. Oh, just didn't quite have enough grab.
That is going to be tricky from there.
Well, there's Ben carrying the scoreboard. Nice little name check from Josh Hilliard in his interview. And as we can see, he has got a bit lucky. It's popped back out. And this now, a very good chance to get up and down for the birdie 4. Oh, that's wonderfully judged.
That is how to take advantage of a good break there.
So often as amateur golfers, we feel guilty when we get a break like that and don't take advantage.
Absolutely. Oh, told you it'd be tricky, didn't I?
That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, carry on.
Well, Anifa lurking here, moving along nicely.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, if he starts making birdies, he just doesn't stop. Never afraid to go low. That's a great bunker shot from Marsh as well, showing us how to play this par 5.
We're seeing an absolute exhibition of the short game at the moment from these guys.
And it is what you need round here.
Now, Enifer has shown us the way. But what about Walker?
Oh,
can you believe it?
This is insane.
I think I want to go home. I said they were really tough shots and they both hold them.
Well, tough acts to follow now. Can McLaren chip it in?
I think he has to. Not far off.
He gave it a very good go, didn't he?
Even so, McLaren has fallen 3 off the pace. Slater continues to prosper, his latest birdie arriving on the 10th. He's tied second with local hope Will Enifer. But the golfers to catch are 2 players, each with outstanding amateur CVs. That's Nick Marsh and Josh Hilliard. 9 under, 1 to the good. The closing round of the Ignis Management Championship could hardly be more intriguingly poised. Tremendous Telford Hotel, Spa and Golf Resort. A new venue for the PGA EuroPro Tour that's to the liking of a visitor from Bath.
So Josh, this isn't your first rodeo on the EuroPro, is it? You've been here for a fair few years. How have you been preparing in the off-season coming into 2022?
I think very well. Obviously this is the time we learn whether we've done a good job or not. Obviously starting out, this is week 2 of 14, so there's plenty of time to prove how constructive we've been in the off season. But yeah, I think well.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about last season. You came so close, didn't you? 11th. Yeah. You're laughing there, but really close over the line. Coming into this season, what do you almost feel like you need to do to kind of cross the line and get the job done?
It's very hard to say because I thought I did enough last year to get it done. But there are little, obviously, finite little things that you can tweak and try and fettle to make them better. So yeah, looking forward to showing that I can do it.
Let's talk a little bit about this season. How competitive do you think it's actually going to be this season?
More than ever. I mean, last year we could see the standard was unbelievably high, and there are more high-level players entering this year who want it just as bad as we do. So, yeah, the standard's going to be outrageous. It's going to be amazing.
I know this seems like a simple question, but your aspirations as a whole for this season?
So, obviously everybody here is aiming for a top 5 and to get off of the... I know it's a great tour, but the idea is to get off and to move up the ladder. That would be the #1 goal. Obviously how you go about achieving that, you're probably going to need to win at least once. So that's obviously one underneath that. And I've finished second multiple times, so it's there. It just needs to go my way and pull off the victory.
Hilliard seeking his maiden win as a pro, and Nick Marsh are tied at the top of the Ignis Management Championship. But with so many players still banging the reckoning, expect volatility on the leaderboard. As for those joint leaders, their next examination is the 7th, the lengthiest of the par 3s here.
Playing 192 yards today. That pin 17 on 11 from the left. There's a little backstop behind it. Ash must have been in a good mood when he set this pin.
I'm never in a good mood when I'm setting pins.
Well, he's flown the backstop there. Just listening to that interview with Josh Hilliard, and we heard Nick Marsh earlier as well. The pair of them speak so well, so composed. Great understanding of their own games, their own mentalities as well. Well, that's an excellent shot from Marsh.
Yeah, very intelligent golfers, the pair of them. Nice guys too.
Well, Slater's been on the charge today. Looked like a pretty clean lie.
You can see the slope just taking the ball away from the hole there. All about the greens at Telford. I think he's on the right side there for an uphill putt.
Now, McLaren, do you remember when Tiger Woods won the Masters in 1997? Famously, he went out in 40 on day one, back in 30. That's exactly what Stuart McLaren did here on day one.
He certainly did. And then he birdied the last 5 holes of round 1, and then bogey-free 63, 7 under par second round. Incredible comeback.
Yeah, 12 under par for a stretch of 23 holes coming into the start of this final round. Slater just up that little tier that we saw the ball drift down, and a little bit too bold there. Playing in glasses, interesting.
Josh's tee shot here on 7. He's got about a 45-foot putt here, but as you can see, the green all slopes from back edge to front. This is a very, very fast putt he's got. A little bit of break left to right, just literally trying to feed it to about here. Nice weight, and just let the gravity take the rest.
Well, we've heard Simon Dyson so eloquently describe what this putt is likely to do. Now, for a left-hander like Hilliard, a draw putt. Well, it needs to start turning and slowing down.
Spot on there, Simon, wasn't he? You can see it just rolling past the hole, gathering pace. Tricky one back for par.
When you're as hot as Slater's been, the last thing you want to do is to puncture momentum. He doesn't. He salvages par on 12. Shake of the head. Don't know why.
High expectations, these professional golfers walking out into the 9th. Oh, he was straight at it and gets it to stand to attention pretty quickly. Leaves himself below the hole as well. Now, as we see Nick Marsh take on this birdie putt, Ash, how important is it to be putting uphill as much as you can?
It's very important, especially with the greens as slopey as these ones are. A putt that long from the other side of the hole is really tricky, and that one's relatively straightforward for these guys.
Early drop shot from Marsh, but he's certainly heading back in the right direction. Another birdie on the card.
This 13th, it's another of those converted par 5s. And your tee shot always gives you an awkward stance. So all things considered, excellent that, really excellent.
Yeah, we took the decision to play 13 as a par 4 because you can sling the tee shot around the slope there, and you're coming in with a fairly long iron. I've just found it to be a really strong par 4 as opposed to a very straightforward par 5.
A little bit of tidying up for Josh Hilliard, and he stays right where he is.
This one to get right in the mix from Walker. Gets it in the left side, but they all count. Well done, he's right in there now.
Coming off a personal best on the EuroPro Tour at Harleford, he had 370s for tied 10th.
I say beware the injured golfer. McLaren carrying a slight little injury that he picked up at the start of May. We saw the fine shot in on this absolutely monstrous par 4. Oh, what a birdie that is.
Yeah, that's picking up about a shot and a half on the field there. Really, really good birdie.
And what a day in general for Slater, who could possibly threaten the course record. Marsh is the first player, double digits under the card. Jake Ayres is going nicely, just 2 off the pace. But Marsh's closest pursuers are Slater and Hilliard, who's playing the signature hole.
Well, we come to the 8th, 382 yards, very sharp dogleg par 4 from left to right. Now, off the tee, like, you just got to carry this bunker off the tee, get in this kind of catchment area, and then you hit for home. You've got a lovely feature just short of the green. The water comes into play, so you don't want to be a little bit too heavy-handed, take the corner on too much, get driver out. You could easily run out of room and catch the water. Now, giving yourself a good yardage, you need to dominate this hole. You've got a lovely green in front of you, slopes towards you, so controlling that spin is an absolute must. So come in there with a good yardage in your hand, take some spin off it, control it, keep that ball below the pin, and you might just get a birdie.
Hilliard's done the first part, found the fairway.
was going to say there's no future long on this one with the pin only 4 from the back, but we've been proved wrong on that one already, so maybe that is the play. There you go.
We're going to find out again.
Nick Marsh's best year on the EuroPro Tour was 2017. He won at Lunghurst Hall, had a second at Montrose, and achieved promotion to the Challenge Tour. Based on this form here this week, it could be promotion number 2.
Well, he said he's playing better than he was back then. The consistency that season was absolutely staggering. And you need the consistency through a full year, as well as 1 or 2 wins if you are going to get yourself in and amongst that top 5.
Yeah, it was a 4-hole playoff at Longhurst Hall. I was privileged enough to be walking with him, and the composure was really something to see.
Jake Ayres, another look at birdie on this long 521-yard par 4. He's got a chance. Ooh, just straightened a touch at the end there, but as he's signalling, he saw it do the same as well.
He's held a couple of monster putts here this week, so he likes the greens, and he's another player who's finding his feet on this tour.
David Langley started this year in action over on the Asian Development Tour, so he's got a few reps under the belt before the PGA EuroPro Tour season started. And that is superb control of spin and trajectory just to get it spinning back towards that back pin.
Yeah, came very close at Clandyboy last year. I don't think it'll be too long before he puts a win on the board.
Uphill par 3, the 11th, quite a dinky hole. This is Ben Hallam, our first view of him. Attended college in California, and he's playing on the EuroPro Tour for only the 4th time in total, making a good impact.
Yeah, he took up golf when his family moved to the edge of Wychwood Park up in Cheshire when he was just 5 years old. Ah, to live next to a golf course, Ash.
Well, I think my family would say that I live on golf courses all the time now, but that's another story.
Now this 15th hole, water down the right, trees on the left. It is quite inviting if you can avoid trouble off the tee, but it's steeply downhill to the green, so that's tough to judge.
Big putt for Walker for his par to stay at 8 under.
Oh, shaved the left edge. I think he thought he hit a good putt there, just a slight misread.
The stroke looks good. I like what I'm seeing from him on the greens. Very simple action, not too much to go wrong, good rhythm to it. But it will be a dropped shot.
Now back to Hallam in his 3 previous starts on the tour. Timmis cuts and tied 24th at Parkwood last year. So I think we can rest assured this is going to be his best ever performance.
Another man thrusting himself into contention today. I mean, I'm none the wiser as to where this trophy is going than we were at the start of play.
No, completely up in the air, completely up in the air. Now, hole 15, a big risk and reward. You can have a punt at the green from the tee, but the danger everywhere. So probably, I would have thought the leaders will play it safe, and a really, really slopey green, this one.
Simon's having a look at what faces Josh Hilliard.
On the 8th, Josh has just gone a little long and left. He's going to need all his touch with this one. The grass is going into the grain. Very easy for him just to leave it short, but then it all runs away after the pin. Really difficult chip he's got here left.
Well, I'm keeping quiet on this one because I've called them wrong all day.
Well, it just shows how good the couple of chip-ins from the back of this green we saw earlier were.
Slightly more aerial route from Hilliard. Well, poor in comparison, but still pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, I think making it up and down anytime you're short-sided like that has to be seen as a positive, and he's got a very good chance. Langley now with a good chance to get to 8 under.
Beautiful putt.
He's been guilty of a few mistakes this week, but no one has made more birdies.
Yeah, 8 bogeys in the opening 2 rounds, and to still be in contention shows just how good the good stuff has been from Langley. Well, that just burns the edge on the right side. simple enough job for Slater just to tap it in for his par, though. And it is a difficult and dangerous hole, safely negotiated.
Marsh on 8 for a birdie. Stretch out to 11 under par if he can get it. Beautiful. Never going anywhere else, that one.
Well, it's a packed leaderboard, but Marsh just starting to give himself a little bit of breathing room at this stage. Hilliard to stay within 2 of his playing partner.
Confidently done.
Indeed it was, but as Kit said, a modicum of daylight appears at the apex of the leaderboard. Marsh, front-running with distinction so far, leads by 2 from Hilliard. It's a smashing tournament, and that must be a source of pride for everyone involved at this superb venue.
We're here at the stunning Telford Hotel and Golf Resort. I'm joined by Director of Golf, Matt Robbins. Matt, thank you for having us here. It's absolutely stunning. How pleased are you, second event of the season, for this event to be staged here?
Literally ecstatic. Our focus started back in November, December when we did the deal to bring the tour here. We started with a plan around the bunkers, to refurbish all the bunkers, all 57 bunkers on the golf course, which has obviously been challenging, and then delivering the whole golf course has been about this week.
You said a few challenges there, but how much preparation has obviously gone into staging an event like this?
A lot. You know, you prepare for this week. So we knew where we were and what we needed to do. So it was about then growth regulators going on, cutting the mill deck extra shorter, a lot of ironing, and the end result is we're really pleased with.
How much excitement is generated amongst members, people around in the hotel? And
fabulous. So the members have, again, I can't speak highly enough of our membership base. They've played a massive part for the seniors section, where we've had 20 volunteers each day. The same members have been out supporting us with the work of the refurbishment of the bunkers, pathways out on the golf course, even drainage work that we carried out last year and we plan to carry out again this year. Yeah, the relationship between the golf club, the hotel and the members is probably the best I've ever known.
From that to Marsh, can the former English amateur champion return to the EuroPro Tour winners' circle?
hello and welcome back to the Ignis Management Championship. It's the second event of the season, and for some it is crucial to get off to a good start, and that was most certainly the case for James Allen, who made his mark at Harleyford. Right, James, before we talk about anything else, we've got to talk about your first win on tour, of course, opening the season in Harleyford. Tell us a little bit about that.
I had a great week. I played really well, obviously. Everything kind of went my way when it needed to. To be honest, I kind of felt like maybe on the second day things might have aligned for me, because I got very lucky a couple of times, and yeah, just kind of kept the belief that I thought it might be my time. Okay.
We're in the gym here,
yeah.
A familiar place for you. You like a bit of working out, don't you, alongside your golf? How important is that, you know, for your routine, really?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Just from, it gets me away from the course. Even though I am training for golf, I still feel like it's just a bit of a get out, and I don't think about golf whilst I'm in there and stuff. So when tournament weeks, it works quite well for me to go and spend a couple of hours doing that. But yeah, it's a lot of it's just injury prevention stuff, trying to get strong as well, but keep my body in shape.
And if we go back to 2019, you were so close, almost crossed the line, didn't quite, top 10 finish. What do you think you've learnt from that to coming into this season that helps your game, really?
To be honest, I'm doing a lot of the same stuff. Timing didn't really work out well for me. I probably didn't schedule as well as I could have through 2019, so I've made a real conscious effort this year just to have a strict schedule, and I'm going to stick to it. But yeah, just kind of sticking to what I know is important for my game, and just doing those religiously day in, day out. I'm nowhere near done. You know, realistically, I don't really look at what the money is to get through, but I know I'm nowhere near it. So obviously a great start. Winning the first one, I give myself the best opportunity, give myself the most amount of time to put up the money I need. But like I said, I've still got to play really well. There's a lot of good players every week that could win. So I've just got to try and give myself as many chances as I can.
A second victory in 7 days for Allen can't be entirely discounted. Mind you, he needs a big finish, given that at the turn he trails Nick Marsh by 4 strokes. Marsh is the leader by 2 from playing partner Hilliard after they both parred the 9th. Let the back 9 commence.
This is where it all happens, Friday afternoon, back 9 in contention. You know, you've got a really pretty 10th hole, 11th hole's their signature hole. And then by the time you get to around 13, really tough, demanding par 4. I think 4 on there is a fantastic score. Then you've got a couple more chances again. There's a bit of danger, 17, and then 18 is a really nice finishing hole as well. So it's a really nice back 9, and you can get a good score going on it.
You mentioned a bit of danger. What are some of the challenges that face there?
I think 15 is like kind of a make or break hole. You can have a go for it, drivable par 4, but there's a lot of danger around the green. So you can make an easy birdie, but you could easily rack up a bogey or double bogey. Bit of danger on 17 as well, but if you play it sensibly, it's pretty straightforward. And then 18 is pretty straightforward as well, but it's just about finding the fairways and greens, giving yourself lots of birdie chances coming down the stretch.
Last week's winner, James Allen, on the 11th tee here. Really interesting to hear him mention injury prevention when Gabby was having that chat to him in the gym. It's a long, old career in golf. So much of it is about staying for as fit as you can for as long as you can. And it will be a long and bright career if he keeps hitting golf shots like that.
Absolutely, that side of the game has come on so much in recent years. The fitness and psychology, all that kind of thing.
Piers Berrington, bit of ankle on show. Do you like those kind of jogging bottom style trousers, Ash? I can see you wearing a pair of them around the course.
Maybe about 30 years ago, but yeah, not quite my thing, but I think he pulls it off quite well, doesn't he?
Wear what you want if you're hitting golf shots like that. He's knocked it inside, Alan.
He can wear shorts if he likes. I'd fine him, but he could wear shorts.
Now, horrible side hill lie. Ball well below his feet for James Walker on 12.
Really good control, though. Seeing players get pretty close to that pin. It looks like a tricky one on the face of it, but they're managing to get it back there.
It does. There's a little shelf at the back of 12, so if you can get it onto the right level, then it's all good. But otherwise, we've got another one of those slippy putts.
Thomas Thirlaway went to college in America, teed it up in a couple of DP World Tour events last year, and he's holed an absolute bomb there.
Now, from where he was, stance-wise, Walker's approach deserved a birdie. Oh, and it's forthcoming.
Thank you. Fully deserved. That was a really, really good second shot he hit there.
Allen for the 2 to move to 8 under par.
Spot on, as no doubt John Morgan's assessment of the 11th will be.
Well, the first of the par 3s on the back 9, we come to 11, and I tell you what, it's gorgeous, isn't it? I mean, it's banked up around the green, loads of trees and foliage, and then the green slopes dramatically over on the right-hand side. Anything missed there's a couple of bunkers to lurk and gather your ball, and at 170 yards, it's, you know, it's no pushover. You know, you can't go in there with a wedge. I mean, it might jut the tee up a little bit, might entice him with a shorter club on a windy day, but the wind is howling around here at the moment, and I can't feel it. Look at it, my hair's not moving. So, yeah, this one's just keep it nice and low, out of the tree line if you can. That'll keep the ball under control. Now, I'm just going to go for a smacky 8 iron, see if it's enough. Oh, that was nice. That was nice, drawing in nicely. Oh, yeah, that looks 15 foot, got a little uphiller, good chance of a 2.
I was wondering when John was going to get his clubs out. A lot of talking, not a lot of swinging from him so far today. Glad to see he remembered them.
He does talk a good game, though, doesn't he, to be fair?
So can Marsh do even better than John Morgan, who knocked it to about 15 feet? Sawn off follow through, just looking to bring that flight down.
Yeah, pretty good job. Front flag, so playing 157 today. Not a lot of club going in there.
David Langley, tee shot on the 15th. Is he going to go for it? Looks like he's got the big stick out.
That got the full treatment. Oh, what a shot that is.
Absolutely sensational from Langley, and that sets up an eagle chance. Back on the 11th. Hilliard, lovely little battle going on between he and Marsh. The rest of the field as well, of course.
See the wind starting to get up a little bit now. It's pretty calm earlier. Just you can see the flags behind the tee there starting to go.
Looks a lovely day out there.
It does.
Now, we saw some difficulties if you go on the right-hand side of 12. If you find the top of the hill, though, it's a much better view to the green. The stance is easy to cope with as well. But James Allen goes well right. Pulls it right because, of course, he's a left-hander.
He was hitting that from quite a long way back. I think he must have ironed off the tee to give himself a better chance, but didn't capitalise.
Joe Dean just short of the green, but still gives himself a good look for birdie.
Right, here's Stuart McLaren's ball on the 11th. He's pulled it long and left. It's sat not great. There is a lot of bushes behind him. He's going to struggle to get the club into the back of that ball. And then the trouble he has, if he gets it out, all the green runs away from him. So to get that on the green, he has got to produce a bit of magic. But anywhere front edge wouldn't be a bad result from there.
That, Ash, is what you call a major miss.
It's a big miss. Maybe trying to punch it in, it's just double cross, turned it over, but he's in a world of trouble now. It's about as good as he could have hoped for, I think. He's given himself half a chance.
So much unknown with that shot. How's the ball going to come out? How's the club going to go through those clumps of bramble?
Yeah, I usually have a big swish and 40 yards out the other side.
Just put the brakes on a touch. Yeah, very, very tidily done from James Allen.
He's got a very good and very imaginative short game, it's James.
Now, we saw the quality of the tee shot and the bravery of the tee shot from Langley. Is it going to end up in an eagle 2? No. Spends a lot of time in Sea Island, Georgia. Heaven on earth, one of those barrier islands. Home to so many PGA Tour pros like Davis Love, Zach Johnson. The list is endless.
Great place to hone your game. He made a slow start last year to his first season on the EuroPro Tour, David Langley, but he's heating up a lot quicker this year. Walker ball above his feet. It's going to want to move right to left through the air.
Seems to have held it up pretty straight. It's half a club short. Still a good result. Anything on the green on 13 is a good one.
Now, can he get up and down? The chip was right out of the top draw. Oh, and the putter fails him. It was a quick breaker. It was a swift putt as well, but I'm surprised Kitty missed it.
Yeah, he's looked so composed on the greens. As Ash said earlier, it's an area of the game he's really improved coming into this season. Marsh for the birdie. Uphill, he can be bold with it. But it will just be a par. So an opportunity for Josh Hilliard, who's in pretty close on the same hole to close the gap.
Long birdie putt for Walker here on 13. Quite severely uphill just from about here. Yeah, it's just fooled him.
Yeah, it's just left one of those about 3 or 4 feet.
Now, don't entirely write off Joe Dean if this goes in.
This is a slidey putt. Ooh. Can see from his face.
We might have seen some fireworks if that one had just slipped by. He's a fiery character on the golf course, brilliant player.
I think Emily's girlfriend with the flag was ready to duck there.
This would be an unbelievable 3. I mean, we're the second event of the season, but that has got to be one of the best up and downs we will see all year.
That could have been any number with that tee shot. And he's walked off with a 3.
Oh, that looked shove off the blade straight away, didn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't a good stroke.
Nerves beginning to bite, it would seem.
It's incredible what the back nine does, doesn't it? Final round, checks on the line, but Josh Hilliard does make his 2, and he's within 1.
And looking very calm as well.
The likes of Dean, Langley, Enifer and Ayres could yet have a say in the final outcome. With the 65, Northern Ireland's John Ross Galbraith has set the clubhouse mark, but Hilliard and Marsh look set to battle this out. They've arrived at the 12th, and it's the leader to play his approach first.
And he's missed it down the right, same as Walker. Control very difficult out of that lie. And that's gone long, I think. Yeah, just out the back. Confused him.
Perhaps a little bit of a flyer there, just coming out of that rough.
Judging by the reaction, yeah, I think he did get a flyer. From a much better lie, Hilliard. You can see he's got the control. Beautiful shot. That's going to swing a bit, that putt, but very, very good.
Now on the last of the par 3s, it's Joe Dean.
Such a consistent player with the quality of his ball striking. When he got promoted in the top 5, he did it without a win, which is absolutely incredible. But a misjudgment there.
He's one of those players on the range you stand and watch and listen. It's impressive.
And when you've seen a playing partner do that, it can instill some doubt in the mind. Langley, yes, he does find the surface, but it's hardly a birdie chance from there. This green can be really, really tricky.
Back with Slater at the 18th. This to finish up on 7 under par. A really good run through the field from him today, 66. Wow, those couple of shots given back on the closing stretch.
Still a good tournament for him.
Yeah, that
very
will
good result.
Improve the check from where he was at the start of the day for certain.
Good shot there, below the hole on 14. Very, very important. This green slopes massively from back to front.
We've been heaping praise on the ball striking of Joe Dean. This a test of the short game.
Oh dear. Not quite sure what happened there. I think he just went under it.
Well, hopefully Nick Marsh can do a little bit better with this effort here. Oh, he's nailed it.
This short game exhibition today, isn't it?
That's 3 chip-ins we've seen.
And that's the kind of thing that champions do.
Well, having just had the swing on the previous holes with his playing partner Hilliard, and with Hilliard again looking for birdie, what a massive moment that could be.
There goes another one. This is getting a bit silly.
So David Langley also picks up a shot.
Can Walker get the bug too?
Well, often you see players get a bit tight on the back nine, but
there goes another one.
Signs of it here. Going in from all angles, and this is exactly what you've got to do. £12,500 for the top prize. If you get a sniff of victory, you have to take advantage of those good weeks.
And it's absolutely imperative for Joe Dean to hold this.
Yeah, it's an absolute must. Oh, just slides by on the right. It really was a poor chip from Joe.
Back to 7 under, and you would think that's his race run. Hilliard now just to stay the shot behind Nick Marsh. He's done well there. That hole might have shrunk up a little bit, having seen what Marsh just did.
Dean retreats. Langley's now third alone. Hilliard and Marsh keep their feet to the pedal and further pull away from the pack. They're both going nicely, and that's something renowned local coach Trey Niven aspires to achieve with his push for diversity, especially amongst women.
Initially, we're kind of dispelling some of the myths, really, of how certain people from certain backgrounds cannot get into this amazing game that we all like. So yeah, just trying to spread the word and let people know that we are out there, and yeah, just boosting the numbers really in that unrepresented kind of groups and areas of the game.
Well, it sounds like you've done a lot, but you've got some national coverage around it all, haven't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so myself as a golf coach, obviously I managed to get into Golf Monthly's top 50 UK coaches this year, and off the back of things, kind of one thing leads to another. All of a sudden in the last year it's just blown up to something fairly big. I mean, still early days at the moment, but it's built up pretty quickly in the short journey into this coaching career.
It sounds like it's had some good reception. You mentioned there about coaching. Do you get involved with coaching the ladies as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty much what I do. I'm a full-time golf coach. Coach the ladies in group sessions every 2 weeks. That's the Black British Golfers ladies. And then I also coach out of 3 other locations in the UK. So coaching's the main one. Playing's took a bit of a backseat in the last few years, but hoping to get back into dust the clubs off a little bit more this year. Yeah.
Okay. And since you started and raised more of awareness, have you seen a lot of change, really?
Yeah, I mean, just seeing the numbers grow, that's one thing that's been huge, and just having the amount of questions from people from that background and that demographic just is kind of that answer that we are out there and the numbers are there now. It's just taking that platform and building with it now.
At the Ignis Management Championship, Nick Marsh and Josh Hilliard are top of the class. But who will triumph in Telford? Telford has hosted world-class tennis, snooker, boxing and many other sports. Now it embraces golf's EuroPro Tour and the Ignis Management Championship, where there's a gripping head-to-head going on between Josh Hilliard and Nick Marsh. The latter, 1 shot to the good, 6 holes to play. Coming up next though for the leaders, the toughest hole on the course. Only 18 birdies have been made here all week, the fewest. The most bogeys have been made here as well.
Over 500 yards, but if you can get a tee shot, sling him round the corner past those bunkers, 250 to carry that last bunker, but you can swing it round, it can roll down, but it still leaves you about 200 yards to the front edge of the green. Flag today, 23 yards on and 6 from the left. It's a really demanding hole, but a really, really good one.
13th, probably the hardest hole on the course. They've all hit pretty good drives. Nick's been a little bit unlucky here. He's just caught against the first cut of rough. Ball's above his feet. He's looking to just start this right-hand side of the green, let the wind turn it. The lie is going to turn the ball right to left. Just let it turn into the pin, let it roll up the green. That's a pretty as easy as it can get for him. Josh is in the middle of the fairway. He's in prime position to take this flag on.
So first up, Nick Marsh from the left, as described by Simon. Oh, we may well see this ball going right to left in the air.
It's refreshing to see the pros hitting a mid to long iron into a par 4 for once, Ash.
Yeah, well, that was the whole idea. It's a test. You don't deserve to be hitting wedges into every single par 4. That's the thinking.
A test that Marsh struggled with a little there, missing the green. Can Hilliard find the putting surface and put the pressure back on his playing partner?
No, he can't.
Let's get out to John on the 15th.
15 is a risk and reward par 4, 312 yards, sharp dogleg, left to right. Now, I'm seeing the line straight over these big whoppers that you can see in the distance here. Now, have I got the height, the carry to do that? I don't think so, so I'm gonna have to hard shape it from left to right. Not easy, the wind's down off the right. I mean, really and honestly, the sensible play is just 5-iron, 4-iron, down the left, leave yourself a wedge in. But then if you're up against it and you're chasing it and you want that win, you might have to pull out the big dog and give it a go, but it brings in all loads of trouble for you. And now you're in the lap of the gods. It gets a little bit tight up there, quirky little green this one, so going for the gap and try and slide it. Let's see what I got. Oh, Sevi would be proud of that. Go on, my son. Oh, yes. Well, I'm really intrigued with that one. Honestly, that was on a super duper line. So let's go up there and have a look. Well, I've come to the, well, you got to say the nub of the corner of this beautiful risk and reward par 4, the 15th. Now, you've got the water on the right-hand side, you've got out of bounds down the left, the camber of the fairway slopes violently from left to right and down towards the green. I took it on with driver. This is what you get. I've just knocked it onto, it looks like about 20 feet up the hill. Golden opportunity for eagle. Can't take it on, but you can see all the troubles left and right. You slightly don't get it right, you can rack up a big number. You know, I do believe, you know, okay, that's come off for me and I've given myself a golden opportunity. That could happen to the players, but literally you could rack up a big number. That's why I love risk and reward par 4s, because 1 minute you get the glory of being able to hit a shot like this. Make sure you do your pitch marks. Your greenkeepers will always be on your side. And then, well, let's have a little go for eagle. Look at that back right pin. Ooh, that's tucked away, isn't it? Now anyway, come on, Johnny. Giving it a go, giving it a go. Oh, well, got myself a foot past it on the right-hand side. That's how that one in for birdie. But that's risk and reward for you. Cracking par 4.
When he struck that tee shot, he said Seve would have been proud of that. Seve's name actually appears on one of the buggies here. They are named after all of the great champions in golfing history, the likes of Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus. Seve is represented as well, quite rightly so.
I've got to say, I love a drivable par 4, especially late on in the round, especially when there's a bit of a hazard involved, and Walker well out of position there.
On to the 16th. Long par 3. And Hallam, oh wow, what a golf shot that is.
He's just tiptoeing along nicely, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's called lurking.
Well, Marsh's ball ended up in that bunker over there. It's quite a long one.
I don't think the lie was all that, judging by his reaction there.
Jake Ayres just finishing up his week's work. Hopefully this will be his final shot.
Well, he missed the cut at Harleford last week, bogeyed the 18th to do so by a single shot. This week has been much more productive.
Hilliard, a much easier shot than Nick Marsh just faced.
Oh, well played, killed it into the slope just short of the pin there. Great touch.
Yeah, well thought out and well executed. Hallam, after that stunning tee shot, up ahead on the 16th. Tickles it in the left side.
Gets him to 7 under par, so if anyone slips up in front, he's in a good position now.
So Walker played out to here, so he needs to get up and down to avoid dropping a shot on this short par 4.
Very well played, and that will be a slippery right to left putt.
Up to now, it's all been pretty serene for Nick Marsh. This, though, to save par.
Tracking well. Oh, just shaves the right side. He can't believe it.
He showed us his bounce back ability after his one drop shot earlier in the round. He's going to need that again. It is a bogey, and he drops back to 11 under par.
Cam Walker pull off quite a rescue job here on 15 after that tee shot. It's a very slidey par. Oh,
that is going to hurt. Just shows how difficult it is if you leave yourself the wrong side of the cup on these slopey greens. Even those 2 and 3 footers, having to start them outside the hole.
There's very few gimme putts here at Telford. Full credit to Matt Robbins, the director of golf here, and his staff and the members, as we heard in the interview. They really have prepared this course fantastically.
For the first time since they walked off the 6th green, Hilliard and Marsh are now joint leaders, with Langley 2 adrift, needing a birdie at the last. The 13th was difficult. The 14th, by the numbers, the 3rd toughest hole on the course, offers little respite, and Marsh is struggling again.
Nick's pushed his drive on 14, he's come through the trees. He's literally, his only option is to get it back in play. Go through that gap there, get it back in play. If he goes down the right on one of the other holes, he's going to be in the rough, and it's going to give him a really awkward number out of the rough, over trees. Just get it back in play.
439 yards. Marsh over on the right-hand side, right of those trees. So a really difficult job to get it back on the green, and it is a tricky green. Slopes all the way from the back to the front, quite steeply. A couple of tiers in there as well. The pin today at the back. Can the players get it all the way there without short-siding themselves long?
Hilliard's not got himself the best of lies either. He's down the right-hand side. Probably be looking just to leave this under the hole. Nothing too silly at this stage. Yeah.
Especially with where Marsh was. You don't want to make the mistake and make it an easier job for your playing partner.
And here is Marsh. He's done exactly what Simon said. Just chipped it back onto the fairway. Left himself a long way in. That's okay. That'll be quite slopey left to right, but a decent chance of saving par.
James Allen's going to need a huge finish if he's going to make his mark at the very top of this leaderboard, and looking like the safe option off of the 15th tee.
That's drawing a bit. Quite tight. That's okay. See, he was a bit concerned there, but I think he'll be pleasantly surprised when he gets there.
In the final group, somewhat the forgotten man, Stuart McLaren, hitting the best tee shot.
Yeah, in situations like this, it's so important to remember how vital every shot and every pound could be come the end of the season. Brilliant battling here from McLaren, and that should get him heading in the right direction again.
Yeah, it's so easy just to give up sometimes if you're not in contention, but yeah, as you rightly said, Kit, every pound note, so important.
Just a delicate little pitch here for Hallam, his third up onto the par 5, 17th.
I'd never say tap-in at Telford, but that's as close as you're going to get.
Oh, well, you've said it now. Is that the commentator's curse?
Well, I've been so accurate up till now. Couldn't possibly go wrong, could it?
Now this hole, the 18th, up the hill, its feature, a gargantuan green.
Joe Dean only needed a small portion of it though, carrying his approach just beyond and the ideal amount of spin. Langley looks like he's in a little bit of bother here.
That's well done. An uphill putt left as well.
Unlikely it's going to be a double victory for James Allen, but of course he's trying to retain #1 in the order of merit.
I'll give him a good chance for birdie there.
There's a look at the state of play. It is Hilliard and Marsh tied at the top. A little bit of breeze starting to get up though by the looks of those trees. And the left-hander with this for birdie.
Yep, young Ben will have to hold on to that carry board tight, otherwise he could get blown away. That was so close.
He and Marsh, even when they haven't gone in on the greens today, they've all had a chance.
Now bear in mind this is a 54-hole event. David Langley looking for his 19th birdie of the week. Not to be. 18 though, 1 every 3 holes. That's a pretty good strike rate, kid.
It's an excellent strike rate. We mentioned earlier the 1 bogey today, 8 of them through the first couple of rounds. Clear where he needs to improve going forwards. He's making the birdies. Just cut out a few of those drop shots. And he is going to be there or thereabouts all season.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a naturally aggressive golfer, is David. So, yeah, maybe pick your moments sometimes.
Is this a moment for Marsh? No, well, he's after it very quickly.
You can see that was taking the turn very, very early.
So another drop shot, and all of a sudden, Josh Hilliard looks like being in sole possession of the lead.
It's a big turnaround in the last couple of holes, isn't it?
How relieved are you that he tapped that in after giving it to him, Ash?
Very. Little bit more than a tap in, but he did me proud.
He was up and out of that so quickly, Joe Dean. It will be a closing par for a 67, 7 under par. Had that great start, 3 under through 5 holes.
Yeah, be disappointed with that finish, but it's going to be a top 10 finish for him. Solid start to the season.
Now Dean finishes at 7 under. This to get to 7 under for Allen. I must say, I love that putting stroke.
Yeah, it's one of those putting strokes, it just doesn't look like too much can go wrong with it. Unlike mine.
Hopefully the simplest of strokes for McLaren. And he too gets back to 7 under par.
Yes, and with that, McLaren re-enters the top 10. Langley's 65 sees him third and clubhouse leader, but up top, Marsh has been deposed. He's now playing catch-up because standing on the tee of the risk and reward 15th, there's a new target man, Josh Hilliard, on the cusp of a career breakthrough. Today's final round of the Ignis Management Championship began early this morning to avoid possible stormy weather. Thankfully, we've had no issues in that regard, and no one has been able to rain on the parade of playing partners Josh Hilliard and Nick Marsh. It's Hilliard by 1 from Marsh as they take on the last par 3, the 16th, a hole dissected by John Morgan.
We're at the last of the par 3s, 190 yards to 16th, and I think they've saved the best par 3 to the end. You know, this beautiful hole, this one, slightly raised, it goes up, and it's surrounded by trees yet again, and the tee box surrounded by trees, so you can get really foxed with the wind around this golf course, which I like. That means the emphasis of getting the ball down, controlling that ball flight. It's going to be a massive thing for the players. Bunkers all shy of this green, 1 to the left, 2 on that right-hand side. Green just looks like, to me, it's facing you a little bit from right to left as well, so yeah, this one is all about trying to control the ball flight and not getting a tee on the ground, just putting it off the deck, little 6-iron, back of the stance, thread it underneath the breeze. Now, come on. Oh, it's a low little rifle. Please be on the green. Oh, I got hold of that. It's actually just run through. But that's the brilliance of a lovely par 3, especially surrounded by trees. It's like reminds you of the 12th at Augusta vibe, you know, where the players are just there twiddling their thumbs and always getting caught out by the breeze. You've got to love it.
Well, it's looking like a 2-horse race now, this man Hilliard and Marsh. The momentum, though, with Hilliard.
He's looking anxious. Now he's looking dismayed. Ooh, front left bunker, I think, with that one.
You'll be hoping it's front left bunker. That rough over there looks gnarly. So, door ajar for Nick Marsh.
Gnarly? What's gnarly? Horrible.
Horrible.
He's looking anxious as well. I think that's in the front right bunker.
Ash, you think correctly.
Allen now. Birdie here could move him to 9 under par. That would be worth a decent little bit of change. Outside chance from about 20 feet.
Signalling 4 right. It wasn't that bad.
McLaren 6 under. Really hoping now to just squeeze his way back into the top 10.
I think he needs to finish 2-3-3 or something like that to get it right in there.
He's got a chance of the 2 there.
Absolutely. It's a good start.
He's played the last 3 holes this week pretty well. He's 1 under for all of them.
Bodes very well. Hallam to get to 9 under par.
Just left it low side. Decent run at it.
It is, though, a EuroPro Tour personal best for Benjamin Hallam as we go back to Simon with Hilliard on 16.
Josh has pushed his tee shot into the left-hand bunker here. He's got about a 35-yard bunker shot, but he's got a bit of sand behind the ball. He's going to really struggle to nip this one off, so he's probably going to have to run it out, take a little bit less loft, and get the ball running up the green to that pin.
Do you remember Whispering Ted Lowe, Phil?
I knew him very well, yeah. He was forced to whisper because when he started commentary on snooker, he was actually in the crowd.
I think that was a good impersonation from Mr. Dyson there.
That's a great effort from Hilliard, doing what he needed to do. And he's looked steady holding out those 4 to 6 footers for par today. Winner at Montrose last year, Will Enifer, looking for a big finish.
In front of the home fans. Ooh, I think he's going to get one.
One more hop forward and he might have threatened an eagle there.
I think a double bogey on 17's derailed him, unfortunately, but good finish, hopefully.
McLaren to take advantage of that superb tee shot. And he rattles it in.
Now we've seen bogeys and timely bogeys for Nick Marsh on 13 and 14. What about 16?
He really, really needs this one. Oh, and he hates it.
He has got a real job on his hands now. You can see there's just a little bit of deflation. But he's still in this tournament. An effort to give the home fans something to cheer about.
And if you're going to pick a candidate for promotion at the end of the year, he would be on pretty much everyone's shortlist.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Quality player. Now, a really good chance for Hilliard to give himself a little bit of breathing room here. Oh, he's missed it as well.
Well, he is looking for his first ever PGA EuroPro Tour win.
3 bogeys in 4 holes have relegated Marsh into a tie for second with Langley. It's Hilliard by 1, taking on the penultimate hole. And down there with his ball is Simon.
Right, we're down to the nitty-gritty. We're on the 17th. Josh and Nick have both got the same shot. Got 93 front, pin's only on about 7, so bang on 100 yards. They will both be looking to up and down these to make the birdies.
That's how things stand at the moment. Just one shot in it, and it's Nick Marsh. First man to play here, and he needs to knock this in tight.
Got to be looking at putting the pressure on now. Oh, that's a really good effort, but spinning away from the hole, that was really close. A few seconds ago, it's probably about 15 feet now.
Yeah, 100 yards, a really nice number. It's one that the players should be pretty dialed in with. The landing spot was ideal for Nick. The spin, not quite so much. Can Hilliard just control it a touch better? Driving it in low.
Ah, beautifully done. The one hop and stop job that was.
Love seeing those wedges flighted down like that. Something similar in order here for James Allen on the last hole.
That will be pretty quick from there. You can see he was trying to get it under the hole. Can't quite work out why it went long.
So McLaren looking to continue his little rejuvenation over the last few holes. Oh, settle down, settle down. It's just got away from him a wee bit. I think just that first bounce on the fringe thrust it forward a touch.
Back up to 18, Piers Berrington. He was tied 15th at Harleford, so this will be an improvement. And that will instill extra confidence.
Yeah, great distance control there. Marsh for birdie. I think we really are into the must-make territory now. Oh, no.
Just a little tentative on the greens. The last 2 or 3 holes, the putts haven't been running with quite the authority they have been for most of the week for Marsh. And this is now a huge chance for Josh Hilliard to give himself a 2-shot cushion going up the final hole if he can polish off his birdie attempt. But first of all, Allen on that 18th.
And I reckon, for what it's worth, that if he pops that in, he will have done enough to remain number 1 in the order of merit. Very early days, of course, in the season, but it's still a feather in the cap.
It's good for the psychology. It's always better to be looking down on everyone else than the other way.
Oh, well hold, Stuart. Good recovery after slightly clumsy chip.
I think he can take a lot of confidence from how he's fought back today.
I think he can. He's held himself together quite well mentally, despite the fact it wasn't all going to plan. He's stuck in there.
Lovely finish for Berrington, the 3 there on 18, a 68 to finish his week's work, and another man in the clubhouse at 7 under par. I used to be that slim once. I was about 7, but good times.
I don't think I ever did, ever.
And Allen tidies up. A really positive way to back up the win in the Cube Funder shootout in the first event of the season. 69 for 6 under, and that's more money towards that all-important top 5 in the Challenge Tour cards that everyone is aiming for.
Yeah, a really good start to the season for Allen. They've been working on getting a faster start, and what a putt from Hilliard there. 2-shot cushion.
And it was struck with such authority. He's got a 2-shot cushion playing the 18th, a hole where he secured pars on each of the first 2 days. Another will surely be good enough.
Well, it's the final hole here at Telford, and it's straight uphill, beautiful par 4. Now, it's 396 yards. I'm going to play a little bit longer than that because it's uphill from start to finish. Got to thread it through the trees, very inviting tee shot. You definitely know where you're going, paints a lovely picture. Now, when it comes to this, yes, you could try and get it like 320 off the tee. The bigger hitters might be able to do that, and that means that they're going to be aiming down that right-hand side and just trying to wedge it over the bunker to a green that faces you. Now, I think the play, because this big old grass bunker here on the left-hand side, is just hit a nice little soft 3-wood, 2-iron. Get it around this area. Give yourself a decent wedge in there. Take some off your wedge as well when it comes to your second shot. It's uphill. You want to hit it nice and easy. You want to be able to control that spin. You don't want it backing up and getting ever further away from the flag. And obviously with the wind swirling as well, you want to get that ball flight down. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Right in front of the clubhouse. Let's give them something to cheer about. Straight at it, straight at it. Come on, please be good. Oh, it's dancing. It's dancing. There you go. That's how you finish it off. Booyah.
From the real deal to the real stuff. All about the tee shot. Get it on the cut and prepared. And that's more than half the job given his 2-shot lead.
Well, he's ignoring John's advice and he's gone with the big stick. Down the right-hand side, that's safe enough. He might have to muck around with the trees, keep it down under them on the right, but safe enough.
Marsh has to be aggressive. And like Hilliard, it is the big stick. Can he just keep it in the fairway, though?
I love the rhythm of Marsh's golf swing.
Let's have a look at what Hilliard will be facing for his second.
So Josh has just hit it down the right-hand side here. Pretty nice lie. He's playing about 110. Front edge is about 90. Pretty straightforward shot for the way Josh has been playing today. Knock it up there. Knock the 2 putts in. Probably feels like he's got one hand on the trophy already anyway.
Marsh going first though. And even if Hilliard doesn't slip up here, a birdie would move him into second alone. He'll need to find something with the flat stick if he is to get to 10 under par.
And Hilliard's just clear of those trees, as Simon said. I thought he might be slightly blocked out, but he's not. Straight at it.
Coming out of that first cut might actually help take a bit of spin off of it. Well, no, the quality of the strike doing the job there. Not too close, but he will have 2 putts for it.
And finally, just avoiding the scrub on the left-hand side, Stuart McLaren. Pretty good job, and I think he's fought back admirably.
All about consistency, I think, for McLaren moving forward. He tends to have 1 or 2 very good rounds in a tournament week and perhaps 1 not so good.
Yeah, I think he'll have learnt a lot this week about himself and his game.
And seeing how Hilliard and Marsh go about their business as well. Oh, he's given it a little bit of a tonk. No, the pace has come off it.
I'm not going to say the tap-in phrase.
Definitely not when there's a trophy on the line, Ash.
Yeah, the putt of Hilliard is just in that range where if Marsh knocks this in, it could be an uncomfortable moment. Come on, Nick. Never really threatened for pace or line.
It was a difficult putt to be aggressive with. A little bit of a run at that, and he could have found himself 4 or 5 feet past, and he didn't want to be doing that.
Oh, go on. Oh, bend of the knees and a burn of the edge. So no birdie at the final hole for McLaren.
General Manager Mike Stenson looking on. I think he can be proud of what's been achieved this week.
As can Nick Marsh, a closing 69 for the overnight leader. Those 3 dropped shots in the last 6 holes just took him away from victory.
I think it was a what could have been week for Nick.
Yeah, when he chipped in on 12, I thought destiny was on his side, but clearly not.
So the stage is clear for Josh Hilliard, a prolific winner in the amateur ranks, to secure a first PGA EuroPro Tour title with a closing par at the Ignis Management Championship.
You know, you can hit 1,000 balls a day, but nothing builds confidence more than holding yourself under pressure so well as Josh Hilliard did there. Apart from his mistake on 16, that was highly impressive.
Josh, many congratulations. How does it feel to be the Ignis Management Champion?
Do you know what? I've lost for words. It's been a long time. Hopefully, I think a long time coming. But no, I played really, really well today. So delighted, yeah.
How pleasing is it to get a win this early on in the season?
Massive. Do you know what? I don't even know what to say, because obviously now it takes the stress away from the rest of the year. I can relax a little bit, but that was some nerve-wracking times coming up there.
Yeah, you and Nick Marsh tied head-to-head with 5 holes to go. Do your mindset go into more of a match play situation, or do you just keep it focused on what you were doing all week?
No, I was sticking to my game plan. Like we had a word a bit earlier on in the round, and it was stick to that. We know it works, and if I could pick a few more up, which fortunately I did, it was mine today. But Nick played great.
Yeah, but you've played some great days over the 3 days. What was the key to you winning this week, do you think?
I think a lot of the stuff that's happened behind the scenes, a lot of work I've done over the winter, sticking with it, grinding through when it becomes difficult. But and obviously a few close calls last year, so it's great to finally get it done.
Yes, after twice being a runner-up last season, Hilliard strides into the winner's circle, recording a satisfying 2-stroke victory over Langley and Marsh, with Hallam, McLaren and Ayres completing the top 5. Many had title chances, but with a closing 65, Hilliard distanced himself from the rest to pocket a first prize of £12,500 and his first pro trophy at the Ignis Management Championship. James Allen, last week's winner at Harleford, occupied a tie for 13th here, just sufficient to remain top of the early season EuroPro Tour Order of Merit. As for Hilliard, he zooms all the way to second. Next week, we travel to Newbury and Donington Grove for event 3 of the 2022 EuroPro Tour campaign. But for now, from Telford, where Josh was the boss, it's goodbye.